Hey there, and welcome to the Spirituality Simplified YouTube channel. My name is samkabert, and this video is the first of a series of videos to walk through the 6 steps in my book, Overcome the Overwhelm. So if you don't know what I'm talking about and you're a subscriber of the YouTube channel, or you just randomly came across this video, what this is about is in my book, Overcome the Overwhelm, the 6-step breath process to access inner peace. I have a QR code for each of the 6 steps. So those of you that found this video by scanning the QR code, thank you so much for being here. Welcome to the Spirituality Simplified YouTube channel. For those of you that are subscribers, don't know what I'm talking about, hang in there, enjoy this video. And if you want to check out Overcome the Overwhelm, there's a link in the description with this video so that you can get your copy of Overcome the Overwhelm. So it's going to make more sense if you've read the book. You already know what these 6 steps and the whole content is about. So I would honestly recommend to get the book, then come back to these videos. And for those of you that have the book and you are on the first step and you scan the QR code, thank you again. This is my YouTube channel, where it's my aim to provide simplified educational lessons around mindfulness, spirituality, and living a more holistic and mindful life through the practice of soul life balance. So with that, let's get started into the first step. Now, the acronym BREATH, just to recap, the B stands for breathe to slow down. The R is relax to feel. E is energy to reveal. A is accept to surrender. The T is transform into empowering beliefs. And the H is habits to integrate. The basic idea of this whole thing is that our body has a 90-second physiological response when we experience an emotion. I'll say that again and say it another way. Dr. Jill Bolte Taylor did a TED Talk somewhere around like 15 years ago at the time of this recording, where she explained how our bodies have a 90-second chemical response when we experience an emotion, meaning that if we don't allow ourselves to feel that emotion, then that energy gets stuck in the body. Because remember, emotions, the word emotion literally means energy in motion. So if you're anything like me or most of us, when we feel stress throughout the day or we feel any sort of emotion that we don't want to feel, what do? We constrict, we tighten, and most of all, we avoid feeling that emotion. So the whole premise around Overcome the Overwhelm and the 6-step breath process is to understand that our bodies process these energies in 90 seconds. And that's good and all to understand that, right? But it's like, okay, so what do I actually do in those 90 seconds? Now, first off, I always tell people, don't literally count out to 90 seconds or get your phone and put alarm or timer, to set it for 90 seconds and just be like, okay, all right, I'm waiting for 90 seconds. That's not how it works. Just give it a couple minutes. For some of us, it might take a little bit longer than 90 seconds, but the 6 steps is the process of what to do while your body is processing these energies. So the very first step, breathe to slow down. So I like to think about it like this. You might start your day with some journaling, meditation, breath work, working out, eating healthy, a glass of water, getting outdoors for sunlight. Whatever the thing is, most of us have some sort of morning routine that helps us to feel somewhat clear-headed. And hopefully you do. If not, now would be a great time to establish one. I talk about this more in the book as well. And then evening routines, we also have good routines. Some of us will avoid screen light for a few hours before bed, or we will avoid eating food, especially sweets, for a few hours before bed. Others of us will avoid watching TV or maybe reading in bed. Whatever the thing is, we have these practices to help us slow down in the evening so that we can have a more restful night's sleep. And in the mornings, we have these practices to help us clear our head so that we can feel more fulfilled and have more clarity and energy throughout our day. Now, what happens for most busy professionals is we bookend this. We put a lot of concentration on the evening and the morning. Then in the middle of the day, different stressors, pressures, or emotions will come up. And what do? It's like all that work we did in the morning and the evening is for naught because we don't actually allow ourselves to feel those stressors. So when we avoid feeling stressed or whatever the emotion is, that energy gets stuck and it gets stored in the body. So the very first step to cultivate this awareness is breathe to slow down. Maybe an email came across your inbox and all of a sudden your heart starts to race because it was bad news. Or maybe you had a tough meeting with a client or a colleague or boss. Whatever the situation is, something happened to all of a sudden shift us into the sympathetic nervous system. That is fight or flight as opposed to rest and digest. So what we want to do is breathe to slow down. And there's no right or wrong way per se to breathe, but there are three main rules of breathing when you want to rest and digest, when you want to get into the parasympathetic nervous system. And the first is to elongate those exhales and the inhales. Here's a tip. By elongating the exhale, letting the exhale be longer than the inhale, you're actually shifting into rest and digest. Secondly, we want inhale through the nose and exhale through the nose. Technically, it's not as important if you exhale through the mouth or through the nose. It's really which is more comfortable. But on the inhale, focus on inhaling through the nose. And finally, the third one is big belly breaths, or what's called diaphragmatic breathing, meaning like when you're inhaling, imagine you have a balloon and it's not inflated, and either we're blowing into that balloon or we're putting like one of those things into it that makes it blow up. What we're doing is we're putting more air into that latex or whatever material the balloon is, and it expands. So that's what we want to do with our inhale. Think about really letting your belly expand because you're putting air into there. Now, I'm going to go through each one of these three rules of breathing to shift into rest and digest a little bit more. First one, again, elongating the inhales and the exhales. So it'll look like this. Notice when I inhale, it's a slow inhale, filling all the way up. I personally like to exhale through the mouth. If you're more comfortable, exhale through the nose. That's fine too. That would look like. So this stressor, this pressure, whatever it is, comes to the surface. First thing you want to do is slow down, connect to your breath, elongate the inhales and exhales. Next, remember that we're inhaling through the nose, not the mouth. The author, James Nestor, has an amazing book. He describes how so many people are mouth breathers, meaning that when we're not speaking, we're kind of like this. And by doing that, you're activating sympathetic nervous system. That is fight or flight. So there are ways that he teaches to help you to move from being a mouth breather to a nose breather, because that's more important. The third thing, the diaphragmatic belly breaths. The idea here, again, just to reiterate, is imagine that you're blowing up a balloon. You want to expand your belly. So for many of us, myself included, it took me a while to do this. I was actually, when I was inhaling, bringing my stomach to my spine. And I think there's a few reasons why many of us will inhale and bring our stomach in versus expand. First is societal norms. We're always taught to like suck it in, right? You know, have good posture and suck it in and not to be proud of who we are. Like, sure, chest proud, but maybe not belly. From a young age and different things going on, I was a little bit chubbier as a kid too, so I would get made fun of. So I never wanted to let my belly be exposed. I had to almost hide it and suck it in, right? And I think a lot of us are ingrained from a young age in that way. That's why it makes sense when we would inhale, we wouldn't want to expand the belly. Secondly, which I think is even more true for most of us, is when you inhale, go ahead and inhale through your nose. Think about it this way. You're bringing oxygen in. You're bringing it in. So it almost makes sense to inhale and bring the belly to the spine. Does that make sense? Inhale and bring the belly to the spine. That's actually not what we want to do, but we can start to understand why it might be that way, which is important. So again, when you inhale through the nose, be proud, let that belly expand, not just your belly, but like think of like your whole torso, even on the backside. So it'll look like this. And anything even slower than that is great. This is literally the first step. If you happen to have this video on and you're driving or you're on a run or you're just moving around, doing dishes, folding laundry, whatever the thing might be, I'd invite you to hit pause and come back to this when you are in a more settled state, because what I'm going to do is just lead us through just a couple minutes of breath. So if you're in a place where you can slow down and start to go within, Then let's just go ahead and together find a comfortable seat. And once you're sitting down and you're just comfortable, the first thing we're going to do is a little fun. We're just going to shake it out. Take your arms and just go like this. Shake out all the energy, right? Sometimes I like to do this, and it's just like move that energy, get into your body. Just do it for a little bit until you feel good. And then bring the palms back down to your lap. Close your eyes. Elongate the spine, sit straight up. And we'll begin by just feeling our feet planted on the floor, not changing our breath, just observing and watching the natural rhythm and pattern, the dance of our breath. Feeling the feet on the floor, back is straight, just watching the breath. And from here, we'll start to roll out the neck. So rolling the neck backwards and forwards in a circular motion. And now we'll start to connect the breath with the movement. So think about inhaling as the neck comes back and exhaling as the neck comes forward. Next time you make your way to center, we'll just switch directions. Inhaling as the neck comes back. And exhaling as the neck comes forward. Just settling in. Coming straight to a seated position. We'll find an inhale and lift those shoulder blades all the way up. And through the mouth, roll down the shoulder blades back down behind you. Finding an inhale through the nose, let the belly expand as you inhale. And bringing that breath all the way up to the chest. And through the mouth, make a sound, audible sigh, let it go. Slowly inhaling and letting the belly expand as you bring the breath all the way up. Pausing at the top. And this time as you exhale, think about bringing the belly to the spine and dropping the shoulders and exhale it out. We'll continue just like that, inhaling up, pausing at the top, and exhaling through the mouth, dropping the shoulders, belly to spine. Inhaling all the way up, pausing, and sighing it out. Now this one, make it the biggest breath yet and challenge yourself. See how slow you can feel that breath moving from the bottom of your belly all the way up to your chest. Hold the breath at the top and sigh it out. Keeping your eyes closed, letting your breath return to its natural state and rhythm. And noticing how you feel. You may feel more settled. You may feel more clear. You may even feel a little bit more energy and enthusiasm. Just reminding yourself that this only took a couple minutes. And at any point in your day, you can always come back to your breath by simply just slowing down, closing the eyes, and long inhales and exhales. When you're ready, you can flicker your eyes back open. Welcome back. I hope you enjoyed that. That is the first step of the 6-step breath process. My intention here is really that you can see how simple it really is. It's not about doing box breathing or alternate nostril breathing or any of these different techniques. When we first recognize that we have a trigger, that we've been now shifted into a sympathetic nervous system fight or flight, or feeling a more dense emotion that could be grief, sadness, anger, rage, fear, anxiety, stress, any of these sorts of things, we can allow ourselves to follow the 6-step breath process And with step number 1, simply slowing down by connecting to our breath. It's literally that simple. We don't need to overcomplicate it, just long inhales and slower exhales. So that's what I have for you in this video. If you enjoyed this video and you're new to the channel, I invite you to hit subscribe. And as they say on YouTube, I don't really say this, but I don't know why it's coming through, but smash that notifications bell so you won't miss an episode as they come out. I have a variety of visualizations, meditations, and a ton of educational lessons and content around simplifying mindfulness, spirituality, and prioritizing our mental health through the practice of soul life balance. If you don't have a copy of my book, Overcome the Overwhelm, and you want to check it out and go deeper to learn about the 6-step breath process, you can go in the description of this video to get your copy of Overcome the Overwhelm. And I will see all of you in the next video for step number 2. Thank you guys so much and wishing you a great day. And remember, just breathe.